Hello world! A little bit of technical difficulties on that first go around, but Jordan Sather reporting to you live from planet Earth, Destroying the Illusion YouTube, back again on Wednesday, July 17th. And you didn't think I'd be gone forever, did ya? No, no, no. I'm excited. I'm happy to report here that I'm gonna hit the ground running. I pretty much got everything set up, everything situated the way I want it. You know, I got that garage cleaned, stocked, got that big ass whiteboard on the wall, so extremely happy to start utilizing a lot of that. Share with you guys here what's been going on behind the scenes. I'll do a little more of that towards the end of this video, and then I'm excited to be utilizing that whiteboard for some more deep dive pieces that'll be coming this way on this channel, probably later this week. And then also got this streaming room set up as well. The internet's good to go, the backdrop, the lighting. So my goal, let me tell you, my goal is going to be tough, but my goal is to do these streams where we can talk Q, we can talk news, we can just bullshit with each other. I'm going to try to do them every day, along with the other content, everything else that I want to bring out. At bare minimum, every other day. So we're really going to hit the ground running here. Took a couple weeks off, but that's done for. There's a lot that I need to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that I've been waiting to get out there, and a more of a variety of content too. You know, not just talking about news in these streams, but we're gonna go deep dive on that whiteboard into stuff. A lot of health videos I want to start sharing with you guys as well. I'm finally getting into a routine in the gym, getting my diet situated. I'm playing soccer again, so I'm excited. You know, got this gash on my lip from doing that, but a lot of stuff coming. So anyway, getting back into the swing of things here, I figured what better way to do it than to just go through Q's drops. There's been so many of them, so we're going to take a look at them. I've got some tweets loaded up here to share with you. Links will be below, things you can research for yourself. I've got some hit pieces on Q in the mainstream media that we'll also take a look at, and let's do it. So first of all though, shout out to a sponsor of this channel in Virtual Shield. Virtual Shield is a VPN, a virtual private network, all right? And I want you to remember that because a VPN can be very, very helpful in certain situations. For instance, one I've seen lately is that I've seen a lot of people, especially international folk, try to access videos on YouTube or various platforms, and it's unavailable for them. They can't access it in their country. I've even gotten emails from YouTube. I'll tell you this, I've gotten emails from YouTube where they've told me that they're not gonna play my video in this long laundry list of countries because something about local laws. I can't really remember what they told me. But anyway, if you can't access a video from where you're at, your IP address, with a VPN like Virtual Shields, you can change your IP address and you can tunnel into that website, basically bypassing that censorship algorithm. And being able to change your IP address as well, you can prevent websites from tracking you, cookies, and you can encrypt your data and all sorts of very helpful things. And Virtual Shield is only $4 a month right now. They got a July special going on, so check them out. Links will be down below. Now let's get into Q's drops. So we're gonna go front to back with these. We're gonna go newest to oldest because of course there's been so many of them, and we're just gonna go till we can't anymore. We could go for hours really doing this with how many drops there have been lately and how much they've been telling us, but we won't go that long. We'll just go through the main ones here over the last few days. I actually want to tell you guys about how I had a tweet that was basically like copy and pasted from me. It was like a stolen tweet that Q linked. Q linked my tweet that was jacked, and don't worry, I'm not butthurt about it. Actually, I'm quite honored, but it's just pretty funny story, I'll tell you guys. So getting into these drops, Q's been pretty quiet for the last 2 or 3 days or so. The latest ones we have are from yesterday morning, July 16th, about 9 a.m. Pacific time here. And Q just reiterating the fact that the fake news media, the mainstream media, is again trying to paint Trump as a racist. They're just going through their cards, trying to delay the inevitable and lie to us. And they're playing the Trump as a racist card yet again. But Q gives us some pictures, great evidence just showing how that narrative is absolutely ridiculous. Trump here with Jesse Jackson, Trump here with Run DMC. They look happy to take a picture with him. Looks like there's no problems there. Trump with Snoop. That's not going to be a good picture for Snoop. Because Snoop, he's been pretty loud against President Trump. So That's a truth bomb that's dropping pretty hot on Snoop there. Trump with Jesse Jackson again. Q saying, what happens when the controlled are told to create a new false racist narrative? Do the sheep follow? Think for yourself. Don't be a sheep. And then this next drop here, also from yesterday morning, Representative Ilhan Omar, if I'm getting that name right. Quite frankly, I don't follow her all that much. I don't feel like she brings much value to the table, so I just don't get into that political picture. But Q links a tweet for us, and it's a tweet of hers where she, again, is just trying to paint President Trump as racist, etc., because of the immigration controversy going on, and she says, we're not falling for it. Q posts, define projection. Projection, again, when you have a raging narcissist coming at you with all these accusations, usually they just need to look in a mirror. That finger pointing should be turned right back around at themselves. So they are doing exactly what they try to paint you or paint the other side as doing. We're dealing with racists here. We're not supporting it racist. Now going back, let's see here to the 14th. What was this? Sunday, Monday. Jussie Smollett, federal charges coming. Cute questions. Watch the news. These people are stupid. And Jussie Smollett, another individual who, you know, I don't feel like brings too much value, so I don't follow him too much. But I understand the general gist of things when it came to him in that story a few months ago, when he basically made up this whole fake story about him being attacked by MAGA supporters or pro-Trump people. And Q giving us a hint here that we should see in the news probably this week, maybe a little later this week, if I haven't already missed it and it's already out there. Jussie Smollett, federal charges coming against him. And this is just going to be another Q proof. Like Q said recently, waterfalls of proofs incoming. Just so many pieces of foreknowledge like this. Q saying, you know, Jussie Smollett charges coming, watch New York, all these sorts of things. These are the little hints. These are the foreknowledge we're getting that are Q proofs. So the waterfall is already here. You're seeing it. A week to remember, Q says. A week to remember. And I think we might get some big news coming. Maybe today, maybe a little later this week. But I'm excited for that. And then 3433, another drop here from the 14th. Fake news attacks only validate the message. Obviously, the old guard is threatened. Think size and scope of continual mainstream media attacks. That's validating the message. Why would they be spending this amount of money and resources paying these journalists to write all these stories, to create these podcasts, to create these videos if it was so fake? How would Q still be posting? Why would the federal government or the NSA or some sort of three-letter agency, the FBI, not be able to, find a kid in his basement if Q was a kid in his basement? put the dots together. Everybody out there naysaying or on the fence. Let's see here, 3432. This is getting into some Epstein connections. So an Anon posts a couple of screenshots from drone footage and 4K photos of Epstein's island there. Little St. James Island, wasn't that it, in the Caribbean? And Q says, this is not another 4-year election. Drain the swamp does not simply refer to removal of those corrupt in D.C., not just D.C., but we're going worldwide here. We're seeing how those threads weave, how all the webs are connected, and we're following to the roots, right? That's why this might seem like it's taking so long, but that's just us with our little superficial perspective here. Who knows how deep this all really goes. So, this is just sick stuff coming to light here, but more on Epstein. Q actually links some videos of drone footage of Epstein's island. If you haven't seen that, we'll check it out, and I'll put some links down below this video so you can go check it out for yourself if you want to. That's a pretty dark door to step through, but these are just very important things for the world to know. And getting into Epstein's connections with Ghislaine Maxwell. If I'm getting that name right. You guys know I suck with names, but hey, Ghislaine Maxwell. Here she is with a Rothschild, Nathaniel Rothschild, a couple of other individuals, and attend a National Youth Orchestra. Why? Coincidence those mentioned in the past are now coming into the light. Think LDR, Linda Rothschild. Think Gloria V, think Epstein, think all these people. I imagine Ray Chandler is going to be making big news sometime this year. likely soon. And Linda Rothschild, I mean, if you were following Q's drops back in 2017, beginning of 2018, man, I remember when there was all sorts of hints going back and forth from Q team to Linda Rothschild. And when Linda Rothschild had a Twitter, she was posting all sorts of not so subtle messages on there. Very interesting stuff, but she's since deleted her Twitter. You wonder why. Eyes on her. And a lot of this stuff's coming to light, though. The Great Awakening, for sure. The Great Awakening. Next drop, 3429, was the Manhattan power outage, an attempt to take out Epstein. Q saying about that New York City, the Manhattan power outage. There's been a few since then. I think one in Staten Island last night, like all these power outages happening in the area. First one, of course, Manhattan, right where Epstein's being held, okay? Epstein and actually, what's his name? El Chapo, big drug dealer. They're like a few doors down from each other. But anyway, they're being held at the correctional facility there in Manhattan. Q says, how do you eliminate a liability? Where is Epstein being held? Boom, Manhattan. Reconcile. Do you believe in coincidences? Powerful people connected. Panic. So powerful people connected. Some rogue group, rogue agency took down the power there. Became pretty obvious. Q in recent days said, watch New York. You know, so in a lot of people's heads, they were thinking maybe this was a white hat operation. The good guys took down the power for some reason or another. But after Q gave us these hints right here, it became more obvious that the powerful people were some rogue folks took down the power to eliminate their liability, whether to suicide him or break him out of there. More likely take him out, but eliminate the liability so he doesn't talk and the investigators don't get any more from him than they already have. So I imagine that actually these other blackouts around the area, you know, Staten Island, they're probably being done for the plausible deniability factor. So whoever these powerful people are can simply say, oh, it's the grid of New York, it's old, all these power outages going on, plausible deniability, right? Be careful in Manhattan, though. If we see another one in Manhattan, in that area where Epstein's being held, then that's eyes on. You know, when that New York City blackout happened, I believe I saw photographs allegedly taken of the police response around that correctional facility, and it was massive. Like, they were clamping down, trying to stop any sort of infiltration happening there. And I also saw, you know, just a lot of intriguing things, a lot of number synchronicities or coincidences of exactly what happened, being on the anniversary of the blackout in, what, in the 70s and other things. So, just an interesting situation, but we're getting a lot clearer picture of who and why. Dig. Ghislaine Maxwell, find the connections. Q linking a New York Post article, and my God, how much information is leaking into the mainstream now. Like, they can't hold it back. They can't hold it back at this point. How many of these connections are coming out into the open? So Ghislaine Maxwell is basically a handler. I guess she used to be a girlfriend or whatever you want to label her relationship to Epstein, but they go way back, and she's like a handler for him. And Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, I believe, is that intelligence connect, or one of them that Epstein likely had, and he used to work for Mossad. There's evidence of this that I've seen that's out there. So we have intelligence connections, you know, rogue factions there. And this is basically showing us that, this is the unfortunate deep dark fact, rogue intelligence agencies from countries around the world, this country, other countries, factions within them have aided, abetted, and facilitated trafficking of, name it, drugs, CIA cocaine running, you know, drugs coming through the borders, opium in Afghanistan. What else? How about humans? Of course, we're seeing here intelligence connections with human trafficking. What about American corporations working with rogue factions of three-letter agencies? DynCorp comes to mind. How about arms trafficking? You know, go down the list. And then this particular New York Post article, it shed some light on Ghislaine Maxwell, but also Wexner, Ohio billionaire Leslie Wexner, owns a huge part of Ohio. What's the city here? There he's in. Is it Columbus? owns a massive part of it. He's also owner of L Brands, Victoria's Secret's parent company. I mean, this is just sick stuff. They use these companies that are out there as their talent agencies, basically. They say it's for modeling and they say it's for adults and it's legal, but sick shit, man. And Leslie Wexner sharing even residences with Epstein, gifting Epstein residences, shared ownership of the sprawling mansion. The deed was transferred to Epstein and his Virgin Islands LLC. So, all this stuff coming to light. Follow the family. Q says, UK and US 1 and 2 umbrella surveillance. Umbrella surveillance meaning that if they tap one person, they can go out a few degrees of separation and get a load of intelligence off of just one tap, open source, all this stuff is. And then Q linking here, New York Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Q has referenced that a few times in recent days because many of these organizations that sound, they're named so benevolently. They sound so benevolent on the surface, but they're used as the front organizations to do basically the opposite of what they're claiming to be against. So, you know, a lot of these child abuse prevention, or right here, New York Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children. It's just the fox guarding the hen house is what they do, and it's clockwork. They don't just do this here, but pretty much everywhere. Here's the YouTube video that Q linked to the drone footage of Epstein's island. And here we go. Very recent, July 2019. So you can go through this video and see this extremely incredible, detailed stuff. You can find all sorts of doors. You can see that weird, whatever that is, whatever building that is. And let's see here. This stuff's really coming out into the mainstream. The Gateway Pundit, which is not mainstream, but it reaches a lot of people, conservative-leaning outlet, running this article. Really, what is that strange temple-like structure on Epstein's, quote, orgy island? Like, this stuff is getting out there. This is incredible. What sort of deep information is, I mean, things we've been hearing from Q for years and things that have been really relegated down into crazy conspiracy land for decades coming out into the mainstream here. So very incredible to see. There's even a drive. Where is it here? I was looking for the tab. Here's the drive of 4K photographs that somebody took as well. I'll link this down below so you can go through and check it out. But there's different folders. It's not too well organized, but you can find folders in this Google Drive of very detailed imagery of Epstein's island there. So I'll link this down below, and you can go through it on your own accord. So let's go back into Q's drops here. Next one, Q linking a tweet about a Q hit piece saying, try harder. Nothing can stop what is coming. Try harder, because they're really pathetic mainstream hit pieces. I mean, I laugh every single time. How QAnon makes people miserable. Does QAnon make you miserable? My gosh. Q has made me so miserable. Getting all this truth out into the public domain, verifying, validating so many things, connecting so many people, shining the light on so much stuff. Corruption that needs to be known. Yeah, it's really making me miserable. No, it's giving people hope, inspiration, absolutely. So we'll take a look at a few more mainstream media hit pieces in a few minutes here towards the end of this video. Q linking a tweet to a CBS News account where Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein was not somebody he respected, but also look at the people who went to that island. Trump actually says those words. Look at the people who went to that island. Q reiterates that here, saying Anons no. In one of these tabs, I actually have a list that I want to share with you. Here we go. This tweet I'll share below. Shout out to the person who made it. But they posted Epstein's flight logs. So I found this. Epstein's flight logs. So you can go through and just see the names of all the folks that have been there. A lot of high profile family names. Rothschild, Rockefeller, celebrities. Now, of course, be very careful with your facts here. Just because they went to the island doesn't mean, of course, they did certain things or they're that kind of person. But nevertheless, they went to the frickin' island. So just keep that in your memory banks. And this list is very important to understand. Next drop, 3424. We'll go through a few more drops here and then finish up. Mueller hearing delayed after Q's B-2 stealth bomber drops. What are the odds of that? Q's not real. Q's fake. Q's a LARP. Don't drink the Q-Laid, everybody. We don't have any verifiable sorts of foreknowledge or any sort of back and forth spy versus spy stuff. I mean, it's absolutely real. Okay, 3423. Dig wheels up flight logs. Wheels up in the brackets. One form of communication that Q team uses. When you see something in brackets, that means we need to dig on that organization or that name, eyes on. So wheels up in the brackets. Wheels Up is actually the name of a corporation. Interestingly enough, it's a fairly recent corporation. I believe incorporated in 2013. I don't have any tabs up here to show you guys, but nevertheless, it was a corporation that did flight logistics. It basically transported some high-profile people around the world, Bill Clinton being one of them. So their flight logs are classified, and they are currently under investigation, as this question infers, by FBI and the Department of Justice. Wheels Up. What was the name of another one? There used to be a company called Evergreen Air. If you've ever heard of or seen of that, if you researched into chemtrails or geoengineering programs, you might have come across Evergreen Air. Evergreen Air used to be another flight logistics air transport corporation. It was out of McMinnville, Oregon, and it closed shop, I believe, in 2013. So it's funny that Wheels Up kind of opened at the same time Evergreen Air closed down. But Evergreen Air, a lot of alleged connections between them and the CIA and etc. So you can check into that on your own accord. And there's this organization again in the brackets, eyes on them, dig, New York Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, and being in New York there, connections to Ghislaine Maxwell. Are there any connections to just a lot of these folks, the Rothschilds? Look for yourself. So much of this intelligence is open source. I mean, what percentage of stuff is open source truly these days? These people are really, really stupid. If you look hard, you can find so much stuff on Instagram and on the pages of these websites with the symbology they use, etc., etc. And then this next drop here, 3421, we're going back to about 5 days ago, last weekend. Labor Secretary Acosta to step down over Epstein plea deal. And Q reiterates a drop that they made back in February. What would we call? Re-channing it, like retweeting on Twitter, re-channing this on 8chan. Q re-chan their own post. How do you fill your admin if majority of those in politics are corrupt? And then Q links a recent Fox News link of Labor Secretary Acosta planning to resign. Remember, Acosta used to be the attorney for Epstein back in the day when Epstein got off easy. Q asking, how do we fill an admin if majority of those in politics are corrupt? Well, you have to get some people in your administration that may have done some bad stuff in the past, okay? But the question is, under what circumstances did they do those potentially bad things? Were they blackmailed? Was Acosta blackmailed to let Epstein off easy? Have Acosta's chains been cut? Did they bring Acosta into the administration to get information out of him? Did he know where certain bodies were buried? For lack of a better phrase there, okay? Do you see what I'm outlaying? I mean, this is strategy, guys. You can't just take things at surface level. When you see a photograph of two people together, oh my gosh, Trump is best friends with Epstein because here's a photograph of them 30 years ago, right? No. Oh my gosh, Acosta's working for Trump now. Acosta let Epstein off easy. Must mean that Trump is in on all this stuff. Not the case. Think deeper, think harder. Next drop, 3420. POTUS retweets account with video on secret human sacrifice rings. And this was the tweet that was tweet jacked from me. We'll finish up here because we're getting into drops from basically last week. So finish up with this. I'll tell you guys the story about how my tweet was copy and pasted and then Q linked that tweet. So here's the tweet here that Q linked by this account, John James, I believe. And it says, Trump just retweeted an account dropped by Q. whose name is Save the Littles. They're cover photos of 2 children from an interview. Here's the link talking about secret pedo and human sacrifice rings being exposed, dark to light. Well, let me share with you my tweet. So this is the tweet I made, actually, and I said the same thing. He basically took out a few words, but Trump just retweeted an account only a few minutes after QAnon dropped, whose name is Save the Littles. You see, I made this tweet at 8:44. You can check the timestamp there, 8:44. And then this person, 10 minutes later, 8:54, is when they copy and pasted my tweet. Now, Q then, 6 minutes after this, right at 9, is when they linked that tweet. So within 15 minutes of me tweeting that, this account, whoever it was, copy and pasted my tweet, and then, so I guess I'll take the assist on that. No problems, you know. I'm honored, if anything, not butthurt. And quite frankly, I wouldn't doubt if this was purposeful on Q's part, because this is some hardcore shit that I saw. Let me get back to that tweet. Yeah, I noticed that on the Save the Littles account, right here, we can take a look at it, that Trump retweeted. Their cover profile photo was of the Hampstead kids. If you've researched into the Hampstead controversy, but basically in the UK, pedophile and sacrifice rings being exposed there, and there's this interview of 2 children, police interview even, and they're exposed, talking about it. It took me quite a few minutes to search through, because it's so tough to search anything on YouTube these days. It took me quite a few minutes to search through and find the interview of those Hampstead kids and make this tweet talking about it. So it's so dark that I wouldn't doubt if Q didn't want eyes on somebody's whose name and face is out there for exposing that sort of stuff, and wanted to link to, I mean, it might have even been a bot account or something like that, but wanted to link to them instead. But nevertheless, it's just doing the work. I'll take the half Q. And Q saying, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of Donald Trump retweeting an account called Save the Littles, where their profile photo was of the Hampstead kids? I mean, do you need any more validation than that? This stuff is absolutely real, and there are people in the government right now that are good people trying to expose these things. So it's not like they tell you in the mainstream media and even in many of the alternative media that all government is bad, all 3-letter agencies are bad, every single organization is bad. It's there's great people trying to get the truth out there. You got to believe that. So that's all I wanted to share with you in light of Q's drops here and my half Q and all these Epstein connections, all these organizations here, dark coming to light. For sure, this video is going to be demonetized. Already is, for sure. Any of these other tabs I wanted to share with you, I'm going to click through really quick here. Here is a tweet from Joe. I think I forgot to share with you guys a few tweets, but nevertheless, I'll go through them. Our favorite, fan favorite, beloved Joe M. saying, Acosta said Epstein was a, quote, intelligence asset. He was made to stand down on the 2008 plea deal because it was, quote, above his pay grade. This means that likely rogue outfits from foreign intelligence agencies, i.e. Mossad, was using Epstein to control our justice system and government by blackmailing them with all sorts of heinous shit. So, there's that tweet from Joe. Next one, in the top left image, pictured with Epstein's recruiter Ghislaine Maxwell, is Andre Balazs, who owns the Standard Hotels. This tweet here from Dr. Quigley. Shout out to him, too. I like his Twitter. I follow him. Standard Hotels, owner of them, pictured with Epstein's recruiter. You can imagine why I didn't want to stay at the Standard Hotel when Comedy Central peoples wanted to put me there last year. I said, nope, Airbnb, I ain't staying there. So there's that. Shared with you guys that Google Drive. Link will be below that after this. Shared with you guys Epstein's flight logs. That. Also, there's been some issues. I think Q mentioned it in one of these drops. Issues on 8chan. Q said right here, Q agrees that 8chan bread baking should not be changed. So apparently, there's been some issues, controversy on 8chan. There's a new board owner there. So there's a new individual who keeps the board tidy and everything nice and neat on there, and it's been a shit show. And apparently this guy is Fast Jack, who I followed on Twitter, and I've had issues on Twitter for in the past. You can find his Twitter account. It's like Solid MAGA, I believe he calls it. But anyway, dude's called me a shill for ridiculous stuff. He even claimed on Twitter before that I got raided by the FDA, which is false, never happened. So I could have, I could have sniffed a shill out from a mile away. But I don't know who or how put him control or board owner of 8chan, but nevertheless, there's been some issues with that there. But I think everything's getting more tidied up on 8chan. The Anons are, as this post says here, returning our board back to the way it should have been. So they're trying to get that dude out. And then let's get into some Q hate. We'll finish up with all the recent Q hate, anti-Q stuff in the mainstream media, and then I'll tell you guys about what's going on my website. A lot of stuff I've been doing on the back end. So right here, Travis View, who he's been on Twitter. He's done some articles for WAPO even. One I'll share with you next. But he said here, police say that on Monday night, a woman allegedly threw a large piece of cement through a stained glass window at Sacred Heart Church in East Boston and defaced the doors with graffiti referencing QAnon and Rothschild. So this was the alleged graffiti by the alleged Q follower. Now, just how absurd is this? And really, how easy would it be for somebody in the mainstream media or somebody out there, a powerful person, to just set somebody up to do this and then paint Q followers as crazy or paint conspiracy theorists as crazy? I mean, this is just PsyOps 101 here. They can't prove anything. Why would any Q follower do this? I don't know anybody that would go out and do this, myself at least. So you can see, probably a setup. I wouldn't doubt if more of these sorts of events will be coming. They've happened in the past, of course. Guy on the Hoover Dam, other events like that, but expect more of this to come. Here was that article for the Washington Post that Travis View wrote, and thanks, Travis. I appreciate the link in this article. He linked myself. He also linked Joe M. and tried to discredit us, failing, of course. How conspiracy theorists taint the justice they seek. Huh. Interesting. Really. Because I'm seeing a lot of justice out there being served. NXIVM arrests, a lot of sex trafficking arrests, a lot of corporations being exposed all across the board. Interesting. So, WAPO, fake news, connected to the CIA, of course. Amazon paid a lot of money by the CIA to make some cloud servers back in 2017. They went and bought WAPO. So, connect the dots there for yourselves. Vice. Oh, Vice. They do so much bad reporting. Bad reporting on UFOs, bad reporting on Q here, and this made me laugh really hard. People tell us how QAnon destroyed their relationships. Not only does Q make you miserable, but it destroys your relationships. Don't you dare get into it. Don't you dare let your friends and family get into Q, because it will destroy you. No, QAnon doesn't destroy relationships. People who don't want to change, people who don't want to wake up, they destroy the relationships themselves. Defined projection, you can see it in action here. So let's get into, when you get into the real reasons of just getting into psychoanalysis, it's incredibly interesting stuff. Psychology, the way our minds work, the way our minds are supposed to work, the way energy flows. No. People who don't want to change, people who don't want to wake up, people who stay stagnant in their relationships, they themselves are the ones that are making them fail. Those who start waking up, start getting into, if you want to call them conspiracy theories, start getting into this research, you start shedding the people in your life who are holding you back. So you're evolving, you're doing away with the relationships that don't serve you anymore, that aren't valuable or resourceful to you. So you're really growing, right? And you're not destroying your relationships, you're evolving into much better ones. And keep going, because you'll start resonating and attracting people in your life who are much more on your level, on that deeper level. That's how it really works. Vanity Fair. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is the last one I'll share with you here. So it says QAnon, UFOs, and America's craziest conspiracy theories. QAnon and UFOs, seeing those two as the headline in a mainstream media article, that I had a smile and a good laugh. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Mythical. Morning. Finally figured out your password for Google, so you can give me some support with the super chat. Thank you. So, quick word on that, and then we'll talk about this, and then I'll finish up. So, contrary to popular belief, if you see an advertisement on a YouTube video, it doesn't mean that the content creator has that YouTube video monetized. YouTube, in other words, will still run ads on videos that they demonetize on the back end for the creator. I don't think a lot of people realize that. So I mentioned in my last live stream that like 80%, if not more, of my videos are demonetized. They are. Just because you see ads on them doesn't mean that they're monetized for me. So that's just the way YouTube unfortunately works. But super chats, even if the video is demonetized, are still very helpful and still go through. So thanks, my friend. And then as for this article, QAnon, UFOs, and America's crazy conspiracy theories. So Vanity Fair gave a feature to a woman named Anna Merlan. Anna Merlan is an author who wrote this book. It's called Republic of Lies, American Conspiracy Theorists and Their Surprising Rise to Power. So just listening to that headline, the fact that Vanity Fair has mentioned them, you can already get a gist as to what the narrative with the angle of her book is and what narrative or angle on conspiracy theorists Anna Merlan is going to take. And what's funny here is Anna Merlan and her particular book, this isn't the first time it's been featured in the mainstream media as a hit piece against UFOs and Q and conspiracy theories and whatnot. But for months now, I've seen her name pop up and her book pop up every so often when the mainstream media does another swath of hit pieces, or whenever they need something convenient to run a piece with, they use her and her book. So, she was probably told, hey, write this book. It'll be used a lot. She, nevertheless, just ignorance is bliss. Okay, yay. I'll write a book and get money and be a published author. So this book is just, these hit pieces, QAnon, UFOs, craziest conspiracy theories. They're doing all they can. And speaking of UFOs, there's a lot of information coming to light right now that is kind of truthful about UFOs in the mainstream, but there's a massive twist on it that they're not telling you. And I'm going to save that for my next video, likely later today, maybe tomorrow morning, about UFOs. I'm going to go into a lot of other topics rather than just Q in that one. We'll talk UFOs and Big Pharma and some Monsanto news and whatnot, so stay tuned. But yeah, really quickly here, a lot of semi-truthful stuff is making its way into the mainstream about UFOs, but it's not fully truthful because they're using it for a greater agenda, and it's not a benevolent one. So that's all I'll say about that. Of course, you guys have heard me talk about it a lot in the past, and more will be coming, a lot more, but that's basically that. So don't be distracted by a lot of this stuff in the mainstream right now. They literally want to distract you with shiny things, flying saucers, to take away from the heinous other deep state crimes being exposed. But understand that that UFO topic and so many other things out there are still crucial, still very important, if not some of the most important topics to get into. So don't just brush them off, but be very skeptical. Be a very skeptical raptor when getting into all of these. Thank you for the support, my friends. Going to finish up here and just share with you guys my website, jordansather.com. You can go there and sign up for the newsletter. A lot of announcements coming out on that newsletter. Whenever I have new videos or products come out, things like that, put it up on there. And then speaking of products, one of the big things I've been working on behind the scenes is stocking up my website with a lot of good stuff. So I've got some Orgonite on there, electromagnetic, 5G protectors for your phone, different Orgonite pieces. Got some Ormus, got some greens. Very excited for the greens. And then I got some other goodies that I'm not gonna quite talk about on YouTube for various reasons. But you can go to the shop and you can check everything out there. So I will link all that down below. Link a lot of this research I discussed down below. Be linking, of course, qmap.pub down below, and check out Virtual Shield. So thanks, guys. That's all for this one. Take care. Appreciate you. Much more coming. Done.